Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to episode 76 of the Rocket Punch Cast. I'm your host, Cameron, along with the normal guy, Will, over on the far left, and a new guy. You should have seen him. If you follow our stuff, you know who this guy is. Chris Scott from Credible Threat Gaming. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great.
He somehow learned instant transmission and just appeared right in the middle of us.
Exactly.
I had trouble locking onto your power signal, but once I got it, I got you.
Kind of pop up in here and join us for another lovely episode of the Rocket Punch Cast. It's been somewhat of a crazy week. I feel like there was a lot more gaming news and just a lot of news in general. The new iPhones were announced.
A lot of news in general. When
the Okami is real.
Mm-hmm.
HD, it's coming back
for sure. Again.
Definitely going to play that. What else? Nintendo talked about some things. We're going to talk about that soon. What else? It was a crazy week. What else happened?
They dropped Octopath Traveler demo on us.
Oh yeah.
That was exciting. I was pretty stoked when I heard the news.
Some stokage going on there.
Stoking the flames of my gaming passion.
Stokage.
Okay. Stokitude.
I didn't know we were going to make that a word, but sure, okay.
While we're at it, all forms of stoke. Let's just continue.
all forms of stoke.
Welcome to the Stoke Cast, guys.
I feel like we need an e-vape shop in the background.
Or
something like that. Oh, Lord. Well, like we always like to do, let's go into some table talk. What has everybody been playing this week?
Not much of anything.
I was like, Chris, you sit back, you relax. You've been working really hard.
Yep.
So you haven't had a chance to grab a controller.
No.
Will, what have you been working on?
Oh, well, we all know that I've been playing Destiny.
Of course. Okay, yeah. Let me go ahead and squeeze into this.
We both have been playing Destiny.
It was... when did we go to bed last night? Like 3? I went to bed at 3.
4:48.
4:48.
Yeah.
You gotta be kidding me, man. Is it really that fun?
Yeah, it's that fun.
It's that awesome.
It ain't stopping.
It's
okay. You'll get to enjoy
someday,
it when it's PC.
Someday. I'm actually thanking the heavens that it's not out right now, though, because then I would just feel even more miserable about the fact that I'm working 800 hours a week. Be like, and I'm missing launch week. Great.
That would be no bueno.
I've really had a lot of fun with Destiny 2. I mean, we talked about it last week, but it's the game we deserved 3 years ago.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I can agree with you.
What else have you been playing, Will?
So, I picked up something I thought I wasn't going to buy.
What was that?
Mario plus Rabbids.
Oh, okay.
I'm through World 1-1 now.
That's fair. That's fair.
We did have a stream this past week over at... it's actually archived and available at youtube.com/rocketpunchgo. But what are your thoughts? I've talked about my impressions. What are your impressions on it so far?
I didn't think I was going to enjoy having the hated Rabbids on screen as much as I am. Normally I can't stand them, but for whatever reason, this time they make sense in a very weird way.
They're goofy little critters, man. You can't help but love them.
Isn't that the weird thing, though? I have heard that from so many people that they were like, I hate the Rabbids with hot fiery passions of 1,000 suns, but for whatever reason in this particular game they're not horribly pissing me off.
I think it's the love for all things Mario.
It's amazing how strong that love though is, right? My gosh, the knockoff minions that the Rabbids became, I just
well, that depends. We'd have to figure out which came first, the Rabbids or the minions. That's very important.
I think the Rabbids did.
I kind of think so too.
Really?
I think so. We have to find that out. We'll fact check it for everybody later.
I don't. As far as I'm concerned, the minions are Rabbids in yellow banana suits or something. Like,
I mean,
it's hard to tell the difference between one and the other.
They're both stupid kid things.
Yeah, they don't have wordy words.
No.
The Boomy Booms blew up all their wordy words.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my god.
But it's
oh man.
But like, as far as the gameplay and stuff, how's it been hitting you?
It's good, actually. I've got no issues with it. I never really got too far into XCOM, but I can definitely see like the strategy game vibe there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm digging that. I'm really enjoying just the fact that I can run around and have Mario shoot people finally. Yeah.
You've been asking for it. You've been waiting. Now it's time.
Finally.
Now.
Mercenary Mario, thank God.
Well, I mean, he's not a plumber anymore. So
No, he's a merc.
now he's just some dude for hire. We don't know what. And if you can find him, apparently there may be an 18 available.
They'll play the 18 theme. Jay Nixter from YouTube in chat says, "Remember, rabbits can attack from behind and front and side and slide, pretty much all sides." So that is something good to note as well. No, playing more of that, especially on the stream, I enjoy the combat and kind of the placement. I'm having somewhat mixed feelings about the traversal and kind of navigating through. Those puzzles aren't bad, but I feel like sometimes the fun kind of dips a little bit when you're going to the next map to fight. But once you get into the fights, they're awesome. They're super awesome.
I can agree with you there.
But Overworld is better than List, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, if you had a list menu that you could come back to every time, would that be how you would prefer to navigate it? Or would you rather have the colorful world to run around?
If you're not going to have the colorful world, then you cut the price in half with a list. And make it a $30 game. And then it's acceptable.
It's a Mario game that's not a Mario game. Believe me, Ubisoft banked on the fact, let's get that Mario Nintendo revenue in so we can get this game done.
No doubt.
Nintendubs over on Twitch in chat says Overworld is very meh. It's just all right. Like it's not bad. It's just maybe if they had put a little bit more interactivity in there, I would have been cool. I would have been okay with it. Anything else, Will?
No. Back on Destiny, I made another Titan.
Yep. Take that Destiny IV and stick it in.
Well, by the time I'm done, I'll have 3 Titans that I just rotate through. I don't play Warlocks. I don't play Hunters. I just play the armored meathead that goes in there and punches everything.
So you choose not to play the best class in the game?
The Warlocks, yeah. No, I understand.
No, I choose to play the best class in the game because as you guys are launching your supers, I can bubble or I can prop a shield.
Look, everybody understands. The viewers out there know Warlocks or the King race. I know you maybe not ready for Warlocks just yet, but that's cool.
Let me go ahead and tell you, according to our Twitter poll, they're hot
That
trash.
is, we have talked about it. That is not scientifically proven. That was not done with a scientific poll in mind.
Let me go ahead and tell you right now. I don't know how it gets more scientific than that. There were 3 options. What are you looking forward to play? Titan, Warlock, Hunter. And overwhelmingly, it was Titan and Hunter. God save us all.
No. Look, the 3 options should have been Warlock in all caps, then Warlock with exclamation points in all caps. And of course, Warlock with exclamations would have won. That's how it should have worked. But hey, no, it's cool. It's totally fine.
Totes.
No, you do you. You do you.
There's no burn there.
No, not at all.
Need a little aloe for that burn.
Well, I've been playing Destiny 2 as well, having a blast with it, as we talked about. We talked about it en masse last week. Funny you brought up Project Octopath Traveler. I started playing a little bit of that, and that game is, first and foremost, whatever mode they called it, HD 2D.
HD 2D.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It sounds like some weird knockoff of ADHD. When I heard it, I was like, okay, that's weird. But at least I haven't played through the entire demo, but the little bit I have played, it's very cool. I know it's just like a little demo kind of early version. They're working to get feedback. But all the characters are voice acted. So I expected just to have text bubbles and I have to read. No, they're fully voiced in the game. That impressed me a lot, especially with the production quality that's gone into the game so far. I'm really curious how long until this game releases, because I'm pretty impressed so far.
Yeah.
If it comes out this year, it'll be late. I would bet early next year.
I wouldn't even think it's going to come out this year.
No way.
I would probably say middle to late 2018.
I was going to say second quarter.
I would say probably in the fall time frame.
So you're thinking third or fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think the fact they have a demo and they're really asking for feedback is telling, at least to me, that this game looks good, but this may just be a vertical slice that they've polished, and they may not be fully done. Because you have to remember, it's 8 different people,
right?
8 different branches that they're going to be going through. So
right.
But the game is very fun. If you have a Nintendo Switch, I definitely recommend it. The demo's free. It's available now. We're going to dive into that and more from Nintendo here shortly, but it's really, really good. Nintendubs in chat says the HD 2D reminds me of a modern day version of Ragnarok Online's graphic styles.
I can see that.
I can see that. Yeah, I can definitely see that. I see where that's going from, which is cool. Kind of bringing that back.
Right.
You know, apparently, the last couple of years, it's what's old is new again.
Right.
Hey, Sonic Mania.
If that means I get more Bravely style games, count me in.
Right.
Oh, dude, I'm always down for Bravely. Bravely Default. Bravely Second, all those games. Are we getting the third one of those?
I don't know. Depends. Will it print money?
Right.
Well, that's a question I can't answer. But what I am down for, what we're all down for, is the Rocket Punch Cast. For people who don't know, this is the Rocket Punch Cast, where we talk about, basically, friends gather around this table, talk about video games into microphones. If you're watching us live, Twitch viewers and YouTube viewers, it's every Sunday at 7 p.m. You can come over to twitch.tv/rocketpunchlive or youtube.com/rocketpunchgo. Kind of check us out. Watch us live as we record this. But if you can't make it today or on that Sunday, guess what? We roll out the archived video and the audio every Tuesday. So you can definitely check it out and kind of catch up on what we've talked about this week. If you don't know where Rocket Punch is, you can always go to rocketpunchgo.com. That is your one-stop shop for everything you ever need to know about who Rocket Punch is and what we do and all the stuff we make, all the podcasts and video and stuff. If you are loving our content, enjoying it so much, you want to help support the show, you can definitely go over to patreon.com/rocketpunch. For as little as $1, you can help support the show. If you support even high enough, I'm going to pick on you, Chris. You might even get one of those awesome pins exclusive only to Rocket Punch fans. Listeners, you have to watch the video to see the pin, but it's very cool. It's very awesome. He's doing his little reboot thing. And also, since our relaunch, Chris, you're our first guest as well. So Chris runs Credible Threat Gaming, which is a very awesome kind of streaming channel. They stream a bunch of games.
Kind of streaming.
Yeah, throw some plugs in there on Credible Threat.
Yeah, so be sure to check us out. Most of the time I'm spending on Twitter right now, so you can follow us at RealCTGaming. And then we stream on Tuesday and Thursday nights. You can find that on twitch.tv/CredibleThreatGaming or youtube.com/CredibleThreatGaming. Or we're on Mixer as well. I think it's mixer.com/CredibleThreatGaming, but honestly, you're better off searching. We don't get a whole lot of traffic on the Mixer, so I wouldn't be able to tell you specifically, but I know we're there. I know we're there.
It's totally cool. Mixer.
Oh, Mixer. Microsoft. Oh, we got this really cool new thing, and we're going to drop it like a week afterwards. We're going to like hype it like crazy, and then literally pay no mind to it whatsoever afterwards.
Yeah, we haven't gotten on Mixer. I don't know if we will. Maybe later. We'll figure it out. If enough people want it, we'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do it. You guys have been streaming a lot of PUBG.
A lot of PUBG. Right now, I'm working.
Yeah.
Very, very, very busy working. I don't know when I'll be able to rejoin the stream, but my buddy Ben is streaming for us.
You get that chicken dinner yet?
Not yet. Not yet. He's in a die of starvation, I think.
That's a shame.
We're rooting for Credible Threat and Ben to get that chicken dinner, man.
Right.
Before we wrap up Table Talk, I do want to bring some things to light. If you're local to Huntsville, and one, you can do it at any point in time. But if you are not, number one, if you're not local to Huntsville, this week we've got a great couple that run a board game kind of design company, Weird Giraffe Games. They're actually going to be launching their brand new board game on Kickstarter, Stellar Leap. Will and I have play tested it. It's very fun.
Yes.
A while back. It's really awesome. They will be launching that Kickstarter actually it's not available up for Twitch streamers yet, but on Monday, September 18th. So hopefully if you're listening via audio or the archived video, it's live now. Just go to stellar-leap.com. You can go straight there. It'll take you straight to the Kickstarter page. The game is really awesome and fun to play, and it's Carla and Nick and Weird Giraffe are definitely some guys to help support. You definitely go out and support them as well. Slight teaser, our next creator spotlight is with them.
Yes, it is.
We had a nice good chat today with Carla and Nick. So definitely be on the lookout. That'll be releasing from Rocket Punch this Friday. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And for all of our patrons, you'll get a bonus session of that talk over on patreon.com/rocketpunch. So definitely be on the lookout for that. They're great people. They've got a lot of awesome ideas, and the games they make are just amazing, and the care they take into making those games is really awesome. So again, stellar-leap.com starting Monday, September 18th. Go support them and help them out. The next one as well is, we talked about one of our new pieces of content, kind of community events. Well, we're having a community event come up the 20th. This coming Wednesday, September 20th. We will be at, if you're local to Huntsville, we will be at the co-working night for the After Hours Game Dev group. I'll be giving a cool, hopefully cool little speech on building your community. Myself, will be there. Chris, are you going to be there?
His job is eating his soul.
Trish is going to be there. My wife, Trish, is going to be there. She's going to film it. And we'll get it put up on the After Hours Game Dev Facebook page after the fact.
There will be credible threat gaming representation.
Yes, we will be presented in some way, shape, or form. But Chris will not be there.
If you are interested in,
Chris has already been called like twice from work as he's sitting here right now. So
if you are interested at all in game development, in video game or board game development, definitely come to the group and come to the chat. And even if you're just interested in, as far as like Rocket Punch's views on kind of building your community and how to get that started, whether it be for games or anything else, definitely come out to that event. You can find more on that event over at rocketpunchgo.com under our community events page. But definitely come check it out. Hear me talk. We can meet you guys, hang out. If you do end up coming there, we will have some Rocket Punch pins that we will be handing out for everybody to kind of take home as a little prize. And thank you for coming to hang out with us.
Not the orange pins, though.
Not the orange one. You gotta be a patron for that.
Not the orange.
I'm
They're
sorry.
gonna be the special white ones. But special, that's our base model.
But if you want to go further beyond, you can get that Patreon one there. Are those the plugs? Are we done? Are we ready for topics of the show?
I'm ready.
Sure. Are you sure?
Oh yeah.
Okay, you've seen the notes. Are you positive you're ready for this?
You know what? It's not going to get any more ready than this. So
let's rip this Band-Aid off right now.
All right. We're here at topics of the show. The first topic, I want to tell the story. I was like, Chris, you can come on the podcast this week? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, awesome. The first topic we're going to talk about is this. And he was like, oh, shit. We're going to start with talking about the entire PewDiePie debacle that's been going on. I'm sure everyone's covered it and the incident that happened on the stream there, but kind of bring that into a much broader topic within the gaming community, that a lot of good conversations came from that. Mm-hmm. So for people who did not watch that, apparently like a week and a half ago, PewDiePie was on stream, with across his old 57 million subscribers, and said a dirty word. Very dirty word.
Very dirty word.
On stream. Will not be repeated here at all. And
it is a racial slur.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. And the internet went all ablaze again. And this brought up a lot of good and crazy conversations. Now, to get the easy stuff out of the way, do we, Rocket Punch, Credible Threat, do we think, that was okay, not okay? Of course not. You should never go on stream, especially when PewDiePie has the reach that he has, to make a comment, whether it was by accident or a slip of the tongue or it just came out like that, period. Like, at least no one here at Rocket Punch condones any of that language in any way.
Credible Threat doesn't either.
Okay, I didn't want to speak for you. I didn't want to speak for you.
I appreciate that, but I think I feel pretty confident on that one. There's not a whole lot of gray area on that particular one. I wouldn't say that you'd be surprised how rarely that ends up coming up.
I'm just checking. But we're not going to focus so much on that. I think that whole PewDiePie debacle and the specifics of that event have been beat to death in media. And I wanted to talk and bring to light some conversations that were coming up around that about, well, not only just like the whole Campo Santo DMCA takedown, which is good material to talk about as far as like, was that within their right to have PewDiePie take those videos down? Should they have done it as aggressively as they should have? But even on a much broader topic, talking about the conversation around this was gaming desensitization. And what I mean by that, and kind of delving a little bit more to kind of explain that, is there were people that were coming out and saying, not necessarily whether they were condoning or not condoning what PewDiePie had said, but more so that it was just like, oh, it's not a big deal. That's the internet. That's what, whatever. Move on. Don't be so sensitive. And a lot of industry people came out and started talking about this and kind of talking about the point that, no, this is not okay. And it really brought up the question of like, why is this still a thing in the gaming industry with this desensitization when people are, we have streamers now doing these shock and awe things for clicks and views, and then, or the toxicity that we have in a lot of game communities, such, I'm just picking, but League of Legends, a lot of MOBAs, first-person shooters, as well as other types of genres of games.
Well, heck, Overwatch we're having reports out of Overwatch saying that the toxicity of a lot of gamers is causing them to have to slow down on development so they can actually clean their community out of all the filth.
Yeah. And really, you guys are here, so you just have to deal with it. I wanted to have a conversation about that point, about desensitization and like...
If I can get some sunglasses to come down right now on stream, deal with it.
And like really talk about what that, if we're seeing that, what that means to us, and like why isn't there more of a focus on that in the industry of trying to combat that, as opposed to just saying, oh, League of Legends, they're just toxic like that, you just have to deal with it.
Right. That's such a big thing to try and unpack. You know what I mean? It's
I'm not asking for the end-all be-all solution,
right?
But just have a good conversation about that, because I don't think that it started coming up with PewDiePie, but at least for me, really thinking about it, I've never heard people talk about this. Like, why aren't we more vocal when not just PewDiePie, but when other people are saying racist or inappropriate things in a stream, on a game, and especially game companies, their community's being seen as such. And there are some game companies that do little to nothing about it. Overwatch is very vocal. Jeff Kaplan and the team this past week about, we're being honest, some of the game development has been delayed simply because we're trying to combat and stomp out this type of behavior in our communities.
And you know what? I'm all for it. You know what? Kill them. And I don't mean literally kill them. I mean kill their accounts.
Rocket Punch does not condone acts of violence in any shape, form, or fashion.
Part of Rocket Punch does condone some violence. No, in all seriousness, though, look at Riot. They do nothing about the League of Legends community at all. You look at Blizzard, and they're trying, but people keep just buying the game to keep playing it.
It's hard. It's hard to combat that. Like I said, I'm not putting us on the table like this is going to be the point where we answer all the questions and we're going to be the saviors of gaming community as a whole. But what are your guys' thoughts on some of that?
Dude, here's my big issue. A lot of this started back in the day when Xbox Live first became a thing and parents were buying it so their kids would shut up and go play video games in the other room. The problem is a lot of them didn't realize that letting their 12-year-old little Timmy play Call of Duty without a parent around or any kind of mature filter...
Rated M for mature.
Essentially made it so little Timmy is constantly using obscenities when they can't hear.
Mm-hmm.
And Xbox Live, well... Let's be real. I don't play on Xbox Live anymore because I feel like I'm constantly being just told that my mother has been with some child. And that is a constant thing. If you've ever played on Xbox Live, unless you're playing in a closed group with people, typically you get that more there.
Now let's not be coy here. It happens on PlayStation. It
does
everywhere.
It does. Here's the trick. I'm always in party group, as you can tell, because you're like, you mentioned it last night. Will, every time I log on, you've always got a party open. Yeah, because I'm trying to get the guild in so we can go play and I don't have to hear filth. It's just Xbox Live is more synonymous with children talking about, being with your mother.
Yeah. And it, even driving that point home as well, that has, I forgot the point I was going to make. It lost. Yeah, I'll get it back. Don't worry. Chris, you're being quiet. You're being slightly coy.
Don't do this to me.
I have to. You're on the show.
Okay, so first and foremost, right? The internet is full of trolls. So, I mean, you can spray all the troll away that you want to on the internet, but they're not going to ever go anywhere. You know what I mean? They're going to find a way back in. They always do. It's just the nature of the beast. You know what I mean? When you give a person a platform to speak and then you let them speak anonymously where they have no ramifications for the things that they say, this is what you are going to get. You're going to get this always. You know what I mean? I don't think there's ever going to be a way that you're going to escape this. You can combat it as best you can, and I think it's a noble effort to combat it. I do think that I would prefer an internet that's a less toxic place. But the fact of the matter is, it's a lofty dream. You know what I mean? I think that's a goal that you're never, ever, ever going to see. Some parts of the internet are meant to be anonymous, and therefore you know what I mean? The only way that you'd be able to really control it is if you made none of the internet anonymous and somehow gave everybody some sort of internet ID card that had to carry around everywhere, and that's what you went and signed up for job interviews and everything for. That would curtail the amount of people saying nasty things on the internet. Otherwise, if you don't have that ridiculous, you know, idea in mind, there's just no way that you're ever going to be able to stop it. You can ban accounts, people make new accounts. You can ban them from the game. They will go and buy copies of the game in order to come back and do the exact same thing. Like, it's insane.
It's crazy how much work these trolls put
into, really is.
Getting in here. And when you think about that, there are some developers who are like, well, if you got banned and you have to buy another copy of our game, that's great for us. We're making more money.
No doubt. No doubt.
So it's just so crazy. Jay Nixter from YouTube in chat makes a comment. This hurts when we are currently trying to get gaming taken more seriously to the world at large. And if the first step is this, we will stay, quote, kid stuff or need to be censored. Mm-hmm. And that makes a pretty good point, especially kind of, I mean, we grew up with games, all of us did, and kind of getting to that point where we remember going in and we're playing games and there were people who were teenagers and adults like, oh, that's kid stuff. That, you know, adults don't play games. And now I've got 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old people like, oh, I love games. I love the Call of Duties and the Battlefields. It's so great.
Or what was that, like 80-something-year-old woman that plays Elder Scrolls? You know,
exactly.
There's been stories about that.
Right.
And it's especially when video games and the gaming industry as a whole is one of the largest, if not the largest, entertainment areas in the world right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, billions of dollars of revenue.
Yeah, Activision Blizzard's market cap is almost $50 billion.
It's true. Think of it, though, from another perspective. Think of it from the perspective of the trolls for a minute. Okay. From the perspective of the trolls, remember that most forms of media consumables do not require any input from the viewer. You know what I mean? When you're watching a football game, for instance, all you're doing is watching the guys on the screen. You're not really necessarily invested in the game because you're not the one playing at that particular moment. The guys on the field, though, are, and they get heated emotions and things like that. You see it in hockey, for instance, you know what I mean? And a lot of sports that have fighting, but I call on hockey in particular because they kind of condone the fighting. Yeah. But if they were all mic'd up at the time, I'm sure that they are not saying pleasantries between each other right before they drop the gloves, you know what I mean? They are not on speaking terms at that point, you know what I mean? They're not like, I can't wait to go hang out and have a beer with that guy after the fight, you know? It's just a fact. So when you bring people into that zone that maybe don't have years and years and years of experience, they're just coming in and something negative happens to them in this game, they're going to get frustrated and they're going to say things, you know what I mean, that they may not necessarily mean in everyday conversation. You know, I'm not even going to touch PewDiePie with a 10-foot pole because I think there's a line. I'm sorry, there's a line. I am a big profanity advocate. I love saying curse words. That's what I want on my tombstone. Chris Scott loves saying curse words. But there's a line. There's a line that you don't cross, and he crossed it, and I'm not going there. Yeah. But in terms of just general saying things online that maybe necessarily you didn't mean and that you wouldn't say in everyday conversation, and you just got heated and aggravated, and somebody did something that you didn't like, and you were like, bleep, 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 bleep. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. That's what happens. And you don't get that at the movies. You don't get that watching television. You know what I mean? This media consumption is very, very involved. It requires you to
maybe the point
make
that
actions.
You're being interactive with that media is what's causing that. And Nintendubs over on Twitch in the chat says it's not just gaming that has toxic people. This is dealing with people in general. It's a cultural issue, and that's a big issue that we don't have time to go with on the Rock Podcast. But like, that is something to take into account as well, because gaming's not the only place that has that toxicity. We see it a lot, even more so now with social media and other people are more connected, so that kind of bubbles up to the top as well. And one of the questions I had on note here is why. Again, not asking for the end all be all, but like, why do we think that, as far as the gaming community and bringing it back home, has been desensitized to this? Is it just because of what's happened in the past and the fact that people have kind of just let that go and threw out that comment of saying, "Oh, it's just the internet," and like that is just, oh, people just treat it as the norm there, and just why hasn't it changed? Any thoughts from you guys on that?
I think a lot of it hasn't changed because, honestly, it's just been swept under the rug. Nobody wants to deal with it.
You think so?
In the long run, who wants to deal with the dregs of the internet and the dregs of humanity when it comes to the people who treat each other like garbage? And, like, why would you deal with them when you can just lock them in their little 4chan closet and move on with life?
It's interesting because we see it a lot. Is somebody will get on the internet, or somebody will have, something will happen on the internet, and if people don't like it in general, the trolls come out in droves, like the dregs in Destiny 2, and they come out like, no, we're gonna burn you. Like we kind of referencing the PewDiePie thing. Will, you brought up the point that Campo Santos sent a DMCA takedown to remove those videos off of PewDiePie's channel, and now there are people going to Campo Santos' page on Steam and downvoting Firewatch.
Yeah, they're review bombing them. And I actually have a pretty strong feel on this because, look, I'm going to be very honest with anybody. Anyone, if they're ever involved with Rocket Punch and starts using language like that in any kind of official manner, because I can't control them as a human being, and whatever they say in their own personal lives is on them, look, I'm going to burn all ties with them. There will be no communication moving forward. There will be none of that. And I really don't care. And ultimately, Campo Santo has every right to submit a DMCA copyright claim on any streamer they want, because they own their art assets. They own the sound. They own all of that. And they allow us to stream because they make money off of free advertising. That's really what it is, ultimately. Yeah, and streaming is a very legal gray area, and ultimately the copyright owners can call whatever they want and get it shut down.
And even the guy who talked about from Campo Santo, the director,
he gave out 3,000 free copies of the game to streamers.
And he talked about, like, before it was okay because they, he wasn't shy around saying that, yeah, we're making revenue from this. People are watching PewDiePie's gameplay. They're saying, oh, I better get Firewatch, and they're going to buy the game from that. Well, it's just like kind of that thing of he finally said, nope, taking that down. We're not doing this anymore.
Well, and he even came out and said, we're complicit in this in some way, and that they need to do self-reflection on that, because at the end of the day, like, they allowed him to use their stuff. So he said they are partially complicit in that. Now, is he taking steps to separate himself? Absolutely. I would be too. Professionally and personally, I will never have anything to do with PewDiePie. It just is what it is.
I never had anything to do with him in the first place, but I will say I completely disagree. Sorry. I am a huge Jim Sterling fan. Been watching his stuff for a long time, and I do not believe under the definitions of DMCA you can block it, but I don't think that that's what it was meant for. Is because he didn't necessarily like what the other person had to say during a stream, and he decided he was going to take down the content because of that. I just feel like that content had then, at that point, once you're playing your original playthrough underneath your own power, doing your own thing, adding your own words and commentary, that content then becomes ownership underneath PewDiePie at that point. I think that if I was the developer, I do disagree with the things that are being said. I would reach out to PewDiePie or PewDiePie's people and say, listen, I don't disagree. Please do not stream my game any further, and I would like you to take down this, that, and the other. But to abuse the DMCA the way that it stands and take it down. It's not meant for that. The DMCA is meant for you to not upload full versions of X-Men movies and Captain America movies, so that way you can't make profit off of a thing that already exists and you're taking away profit from somebody else. That's not what that's underneath the definition of DMCA. That's not what that's intended for.
I think that was
true, but there's no current modern system to stop that.
And that, so like right now, I think that's the catch, is that there's still a gray area there. And you brought that up, Chris. I appreciate that. There was even the director himself came out and said, you know, maybe it may have been the heat of the moment. I may have, you know, using DMCA may not have been the best thing to do, and it may have been better just for him to go, hey, PewDiePie, we really didn't appreciate what you said. Could you go ahead and take those videos down for us, instead of basically saying, slap, you have to take them down. You don't have a choice now.
Right. Throwing it on your Twitter and saying, we do not condone such and such information. Throwing it up on your page. Throwing it up on your Steam page. Showing the world that you do not agree with PewDiePie. 100% I totally agree with. Taking down PewDiePie's video where PewDiePie adds his own commentary to his own playthrough of the video. That's not a DMCA. That's not what that's intended for. So I appreciate what he did, but I don't appreciate the way that he did it. You know what I mean? I would have reached out. I would have said, I don't want to be part of this. You know what I mean? Dude, leave me out. You can do whatever you want on whatever other person's game is cool with it. I'm not cool with it. Leave me out. I do not want you to do that. But I don't think that you relinquish ownership of, you know what I mean? The DMCA would be more intended for you uploading source code of the game, so that way other people could download the game from Pirate Bay. That is, you know what I mean? That I agree. That's a immediate takedown situation, but not a video. I just disagree. I think that there was a better way to go about it, and I think that was a little bit of a jump in the gun kind of moment.
Part of that gray area there. Apparently, chat's been blowing up. Hot topic, surprise. Halo Atlantis, I'm going to go back and read some comments. Halo Atlantis said, OMG, it's the Sega CD all over again. I got a chuckle out of that. Thank you. Nintendubs over on Twitch chat says, the internet's biggest issue is people are anonymous, not held accountable. In society, we're all held to a standard, etc., but online we're not, at least not the average person. I think that was going to your point, Chris, but the fact that, as far as, I don't think we're ever going to get rid of the trolls because they're anonymous. You can go on Facebook, create a dummy account, put a fake name, and do whatever you want to when people try and attack you. You say, oh, delete, boop, I'm out. Ghosts. And nobody finds you ever again. And I guess you guys have talked. I'll give at least a few of my spiels on this entire situation. The whole DMCA takedown thing, I think that is a little bit of a gray area. Especially, at least the research I've done so far, I think, is it within their right? Yes. Should they have done it as forcefully? No, because that may open a can of worms in the future for other developers. And again, that's where that gray area, Will, like you were talking about, and the fact that the rules really aren't in place.
There's no legal system to say yay or nay on it.
Exactly. And so it may come to a point where, because of this incident, rules are enforced, and they do create stuff to be like, here's the line, here's what happens if you cross it, where you can cross it and where you can't do anything with it. But as far as the desensitization of gaming, I don't think the reason that, it's just the internet, we're not going to do anything about it, we should just, don't even worry about it. I think that's crap. And I think that, especially us, I know I'm gonna speak for you if that's okay. Especially us at Rocket Punch and at Credible Threat, we fight. If we have to and we're given the chance, I think we would sit there and fight for that and talk about squashing this toxic nature and having 12-year-old kids on Call of Duty say that they did it with your mom. Cut that out, and gaming is supposed to be inclusive and everybody can play. Just I've watched so many videos. I watched a video of one dude who, I forgot the type of disease that he has, but basically it's almost like stroke victims have, where part of your body is not, you can't use it very well. And he's a one-handed gamer who's doing a speed run of Nier Automata. And there was this cool little video of how he was getting ready for that with one hand on the getting ready to play that. Oh no, sorry, PlayStation, because I can't do Xbox. Sorry. And the fact that if he's wanting the game, he enjoys games, and the fact that if he goes online and then people are going to be like, dude, why aren't you getting these headshots, da da da, and he's like, well, I enjoy games, but I'm handicapped, I only play with one hand. It's like, oh, you beep and beep, you need to get the beep out of here, you can't beep and do all stuff. I know that's garbage, that's crap.
Yeah.
And it should not happen. And if wherever we can go to stop and squash that, we should, as streamers, as people. I mean, as people in this industry, we sit here, we've been doing it for years, talking about video games in any form, streaming or on podcasts. I think we have an obligation when we see that to speak up. And I'm not going to get too deep into this, but for people that are, for viewers that are watching me and for listeners as well, I understand that because I'm a black person, and it's very surprise.
Oh my god.
And going on stream, like going and playing a game, if someone were to say, oh dude, you're black, get the hell out of here, or and even in a much more broader sense, what I'm not going to go into is just like other stuff that we have fought for, civil rights, slavery and stuff like that, and not just the stuff that minorities are fighting with, but also LGBT community and things like that. If we took that same mentality over there, then I hate getting too real here, but I may not be at this table right now if people weren't there to fight, to stand up and say when that stuff was happening, say, no, actually it's not cool, you shouldn't be doing that, here's why, for basic human decency. And I think that, at least for me, going into this topic of desensitization is like, when we see that, we have to squash that. I've run into a few trolls and people rolling around in Overwatch playing a game of like da-da-da, doing some crazy random crap, and I'm just like, no, get out of here, or I'll be like, dude, you need to get boop, get out. And like they'll, after a while they'll leave and like, man, we're glad those people are gone. Jeez, I'm done with them. And I think that us as a gaming community, if we, as far as the question of like, why hasn't that changed? I think that just people haven't fought for it. It hasn't been to that point. Maybe it's because instances are few and far between. Maybe it's because there's so many of those instances across the board in different gaming communities that people aren't. Again, people just like, squash it down. Maybe it is what Will said, is that people just don't want to talk about it because it's uncomfortable. And the fact of the matter is that if we should be fighting even more so for it because it's uncomfortable. And all people should be able to play games, my opinion. It shouldn't, if you have one arm, you have 4 fingers missing, if there's a way, there are advocate groups that do nothing but seeing if they can somehow get this person who wants to get into video games or any gaming of some type to be able to play that game. And I think that the people, the trolls, everyone out there who condones the fact that when they get on, they're going to be like, oh, you're crap, da-da-da, you can't play worth a shite, then you need to get out of here. I think that's wrong, and they should not be doing it at all. And I think this conversation and hearing this talk around the industry really empowered me personally to get out there when I can and be more vocal about it. I think about just getting out there and saying, no, that's not right what you're saying to this person. They have every right to play Destiny 2 the way they want to, as much as you do. It's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
It's not a lot. No.
Well, thank you. Now we do have some stuff from chat real quick before we switch gears. This is going to be from Nintendubs. Playing devil's advocate, we live in a country all about free speech, and I think that rolls over to the internet. You're free to say whatever you want, so in PewDiePie's case, say whatever you want. The more important thing as a whole, consumers let these streamers know we don't support hate speech, dislike their videos, unfollow them, etc. And then he continues, freedom of speech is important, even hateful speech or things we disagree with.
And I agree 100%, but the difference is that you have consequences to that free speech.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So where PewDiePie, yes, I can unfollow, I can do this, that, I can do that. When it comes to the internet in general chat that you're dealing with in people's games, like, okay, cool, I can leave this particular match, but if I go to the next match and I'm having the same problem, then I leave that match and I go to the third match. It's like, how many matches do I have to leave because you decide that you're going to...
Well, and that's why...
Because I can't boot you, you know what I mean? Like, unless it's my server or whatever.
Now, that's why some developers have implemented a report system. Report the players, report.
That's why you play World of Warcraft dungeons, and then when somebody like vote to kick, like,
yeah, right.
I know Overwatch has been working on their report system.
Yeah, well, Blizzard's had a report system in place on most of their games for a long time. It's just, well, there's been some interesting things coming out of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, freedom of speech is important, but you also don't have the right to yell fire in a crowded theater. That's been proven. So take that with a grain of salt. I mean, guys, yeah, you're allowed to say things, but you're also not allowed to say things that could injure, harm, or kill other people. That's now, your feelings, I'm sorry, getting on the internet, you need to go ahead and harden yourself a little bit because people have the right to say what they're going to say. I will say, as far as Second Amendment goes, and whether they hurt our feelings or not is irrelevant. Now, you have the right to renounce and denounce them.
And it's like Nintendo said, if you don't like what they're saying, that's the whole concept of, like, dislike their video, don't follow them. I don't watch PewDiePie.
I don't watch him at all.
I don't have him subscribed, and I'm probably not going to. But
did this change your mind?
Yeah, I was on the fence. I was on the fence, but I'm like, I'll change it now. But like Nintendo was brought up, you know, if you don't like that stuff, don't go looking for it. If you see a dude with a gun and a knife in a dark, crowded alley, don't go towards the alley. It's like, no, I'm going to go over here on the other side of the road.
I mean, unless you got an M1A2 Abrams tank, then go right for it.
But I think that, yeah, you know, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. Jay Nixter over at the YouTube chat brings up a very good point. Just because a topic is uncomfortable doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about it, or else we are just condoning the bad of it. We need to talk to progress. And that's correct. I think that the point you brought up, Will, about harden yourselves a little bit, that shouldn't just be on the internet. That's part of feedback and growing on. We do it when we talk about Rocket Punch. You do it when you're talking with people about Credible Threat, like what am I doing, what am I not doing great, and getting that feedback.
I'm doing everything great. I don't know what you're talking about.
We'll talk after the show.
Yeah, we're gonna talk, buddy.
But also, just going in and being prepared for the fact that we are all different people. There are conversations, even just at this table, talking about us three, there are conversations we'll have where we all agree. And there are conversations that we've had before that we don't all agree. But we don't sit there and go, oh my God, F you, get the F out of here, da-da-da, get out of my house, Chris. You like Sonic, you don't like Mario. No, I love you. But going in, at least for me, hearing those different opinions helps me to grow because I understand that what I see is not the world. And there's so much more to see. And with so much more to see, there's more to know and there's different opinions on different things. And I think that if people, not even just like, I would not even just toughen themselves up, but open themselves a little bit more, understand that they're not invincible and that sometimes you may be wrong, you may be right, you don't know, or there may just be a different view on stuff and be open to that. I think that not only the gaming industry, but the entire world and a lot of problems that we have would be solved pretty quickly. But unfortunately, we're not here to save the world.
Yeah.
We're just here to talk about video games and microphones.
There is a final point to this.
Can we do more of that?
Well, we got one final point on there because there's a final bullet point about the whole PewDiePie debacle.
What am I looking at?
So he released an apology video.
Nice.
He released the apology video. I think it was about 2 or 3 days later. So he did come out and apologize. All I'm going to say on that is it looked sincere. The only thing I want to say about that before moving forward is the fact that it does look like it was monetized. Take that for what you want. We're going to move on. Unless anybody else has anything else to add on that topic.
No, okay. I think we've all said our thoughts.
Yeah, I'm good.
I think we're good.
Breathing a sigh of relief here. Let's get to the other bullet point here.
Okay.
So, this is a good one.
If you guys have been in chat letting us know what you think. If you, I actually didn't even mention this at the top of the show. If you, for our Twitch viewers, if you do have questions for us after the show, after this next topic, we will read them out and answer them at the end of the show. So if you have any questions about us or the topics we talk about, let us know. Throw them in chat. We'll go back and get them. Nintendo says, I'm sorry, please keep watching and give me money. The next topic is a much more fun topic. I think we're all excited to play. Nintendo brought it, in my opinion, in full force this week.
Totes brought it.
They showed up with a rocket launcher and pointed it right at everybody that's not them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about at least the smaller of these two things. You remember that NES Classic and that SNES Classic?
I do. I remember that.
Well,
I have one, actually. I got the NES Classic.
Well, guess what? If you...
Shout out.
Nintendo...
Scott. Shout out.
If you did not get an NES Classic, apparently Nintendo has announced, number one, that you will be able to purchase the NES Classic next summer. They will be manufacturing those again, putting them back in rotation summer 2018. So if you're like, oh my God, I can't find it, you'll be able to get it for a reasonable price instead of this $200 ThinkGeek bundle that you... what the hell's wrong with that?
That's GameStop for you.
And also that the Super NES Classic Edition will now be manufactured past 2017. They will be manufacturing that model in 2018. So we might actually be able to get one.
You mean I won't have to bring mine over every week just so you
won't
can play it?
have to. Number one, that was great news for the... I remember waking up and I'm like, oh my God, it's like Christmas. Oh, yes. And as far as that point, do we think with this announcement, it was pretty big, I think this last about a week ago, do we think Nintendo's learned their lesson with this whole restocking thing? Because I think a day or two before, Reggie was on an interview somewhere and he was like, people shouldn't have to go buy, don't pay more for this product, don't go to eBay, we're going to make enough. We're going to have stock throughout, and then they come out and say, no, we're doing this with the NES Classic. We're doing this with the SNES Classic. What do you guys think? Do you think, should we breathe a sigh of relief and saying, awesome, Nintendo's going to be great on their stocking issues henceforth?
No. No, I hope, man, do I hope I'm wrong on that. But here's one thing I'll say right off the bat. You are very lucky, Nintendo. You are very lucky, because if you didn't do it, if you had not said that, I was already buying my Raspberry Pi. It was already in my Amazon cart, and guess what? I could get a lot more than 20 some odd games on it, okay? So, I wanted the NES Classic, or the SNES Classic. I wanted it, but I was like, I am not willing to, lie, cheat, and steal to get this thing. You know what I mean? If I can't pick it up night of at Walmart like our original plan was or whatever, if for whatever reason something goes wrong, I will be the first person to click buy on Amazon, and that is good. I'm fine. I will get my cool wireless 8-bit DOE controllers and 1,000 game library from every classic console and just be like, this is good. I'm good here. This is fine. So you're lucky. I would prefer to buy the official merchandise to have it for collector purposes. You're lucky that you did it, though, because I was not willing to make a mountain out of this to try and make it work.
What, Will, what are your thoughts? I mean, Will's the lucky one. He already had it pre-ordered. He just happened to be driving by GameStop when the SNES Classic went live.
I literally got the text message on my way to work, and that day I happened to leave about a half hour earlier than I normally do. And I was like, oh, well, let me just go swing by. They had 4 of them left, and I got one as far as pre-order slots. Sure. I was like, oh, let me just go to the GameStop that I hate just because it's near work. First off, guys, I'm just going to be honest. I don't like GameStop anymore.
GameStop.
Now, a lot of that is because I was a GameStop employee at one point back in the day.
No, we're not having a GameStop conversation. We already had the PewDiePie one. We're not doing that.
I'm just going to go ahead and say, I have some deep-seated hatred. You can ignore that if you want.
As far as do you think we should expect this trend moving forward on the stocking thing for Nintendo?
I'm going to be real, man. Nintendo's going to make only as much as they feel like they're going to be able to sell. And then when they get blown away by the Switch sales numbers, I think they're past 5 million now sold globally. Yeah, right now it's outpacing the Wii, which was the fastest selling console of all time.
Nintendo gonna Nintendo, is that your answer?
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
Hold on, I just read a great comment. Nintendubs over at Twitch chat says scarcity issues are their marketing strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I don't know if this is the Switch is for the NES Classic. Yeah, absolutely. I had to struggle to get 2 of them, one for me and one for my sister. As far as all of this goes, though, total transparency, I don't think the Switch is a scarcity problem. I think they can't keep up with demand.
I think that's true, especially for a very intricate product like that. Some of the parts they need. It's not just like some any old console, like having that capability of taking it on the go. That's a theme with the Switch now, is it's going to be hard to manufacture those things.
I don't see it being any more difficult than an iPad to manufacture, and Apple can crank those out by the millions. I think Nintendo's issue is they may not want to pay for the infrastructure, and so they're having to share factories from Foxconn.
That's absolutely
with people like Apple, people like Sony, and so they have very limited production capability unless they're willing to throw down the coin.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be real, why is Nintendo going to invest in infrastructure it may never need again?
That's true. This is great news. I'm with Chris. It's great news. I'm not going to jump for joy and say, yes, everything's fixed. I remember waiting in line for the Wii at Best Buy, freezing cold in November. Like I waited all night and woke up and my legs were frozen. I covered every part of my body except for my feet. And so we had to walk to the gas station to get like hot cocoa or coffee, and I couldn't walk because my legs were numb. And just the scarcity, and like then them coming out and saying, awesome, we've got 12 or 13 in stock. And I was like fifth in line. I was like, oh man,
I waited in line for a Wii at Walmart, the one on Sparkman Drive, actually, in their garden center. That's where they had us waiting. Let me tell you, I didn't care, man.
At least you got to wait inside. Best Buy were on the wall.
It was in the garden center. It was still outside.
At least you had 4 walls over you. I had one.
We were down in Florida, my sister and I, at a Target in Florida. It was cold, but it was not cold. I mean, we have a whole new definition of cold now that I live up here. It was a brisk 65.
Let me tell you, that's my favorite weather.
Yeah.
But even so, we're really happy about the SNES Classic Edition. What, we got a comment?
No, yes, Nintendo dubs. Sparkman Drive Walmart is the worst Walmart.
Is the worst, the absolute worst.
All caps.
But the other great big news, kind of Nintendo was on this roll all this week. We had a Nintendo Direct this past week. And boy, were there a lot of games shown. They told us that it was going to be Nintendo Switch games and 3DS games basically for the rest of the year. And most people assume this was basically all the games they hadn't announced the release dates for. Here's the time they're going to release announce the release dates for. I don't even know how many games there were that were announced for this. It was ridiculous.
It was.
I'm going to open the notes here. I know we had Xenoblade Chronicles X got a release date. Pokken Tournament was on there. I'm going through some of the lists that we had. They announced new Nintendo 3DS models, or no, the 2DS models. Apparently, everybody loves the Pokeball one.
It's cool.
The new hotness.
I mean, dude, it's a Pokeball.
It's cool. I come on, just move on.
More Amiibo, Switch. Super Mario Odyssey stuff for the Switch. We're ready for that. We'll put in the show notes links to all the games they talked about. But the conversation I'm having here is like, was everybody excited for what Nintendo showed? And do we think that this helps squash the kind of, I think not lately, but the thing hovering over Nintendo Switch since its launch of, oh, then the Switch doesn't have any games. There are no games for the Switch. Do we think that quashes that argument?
This should. Honestly, my biggest issue with that argument is the sizzle reel and the announcement for the Switch had over 70 games coming out by the end of the year, not including a large chunk of this list. I mean, that's putting them closer to 100 games, if you round up a little bit, in 1 year. When was the last time you had a console drop with 100 games available in the first year almost?
I agree.
This is stupid insane. I don't know why people are saying that. It's like, if you're not sure about Switches having games and you ever run into me face to face, I've got a Switch backpack. I'll just pull my Switch out and let you flip through all the games I got on there.
There are a lot, I'll tell you right now. Nintendo Dubs over on Twitch chat says Odyssey gameplay, though it was a bit underwhelming, still so pumped for that game. It was a nice big little game they featured on there as well.
For sure.
But no, I mean, what games jumped out to you guys?
Doom.
Oh my gosh.
Doom on the go. If Doom can run on a Switch, everything can run on a Switch.
That, dude, you guys know I was on a Rocket Punch cast. We talked about Nintendo and we talked about developers like laughing it off. Like, I could never get that game running on the Switch. You get the game running on the Switch. You find a way, you down-res it, whatever you got to do, you make it work. This was a clear indication that you can make anything work on the Switch.
I think the conditions for Doom, they've said that, of course it doesn't look as pretty as it does on your your computer screen or your console. It's the single player campaign. The multiplayer will be coming out, I think, separately.
Right, no snap map.
And no snap map. And that's it. But other than that, it's the full game. And really, people for Doom, all you care about is the single player anyway.
Come on. Please.
I don't know. You know what? I would pick up the multiplayer just so we can be on the plane going to BlizzCon, killing each other in Doom.
I agree. I'm Chris Scott of Credible Threat Gaming, and I approve this message.
I'd be down for that. But okay, so Doom was the big highlight.
Oh my gosh, when they announced it, I was just like, that was it. It was, that was the confirmation of everything that I felt. I was like, there's a third party getting shit done. You know what I mean? Sorry for words, but I was so stoked. That was great.
Think about the fact Bethesda they announced the date for Skyrim VR, or not Skyrim VR, but Skyrim for Switch.
Yep.
They announced Doom, and they announced Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. I get to shoot and kill Nazis again. Yes, please.
Man, just
on the go.
It was a very Fry take my money meme day. Okay, I was like the whole Nintendo conference. I was like, please, yes.
Also, Tiny Metal.
Oh yeah, that was in the sizzle reel. But I showed you that video. I'm like, I'm ready for this game. That's Advanced Wars in 3D. Check. Yep.
Right.
Sold. Take my money.
Still don't have Wargroove yet, but I'll get that too.
Oh yeah. What games? Octopath Traveler.
And then drop a demo out of nowhere.
Boom! It's available now. I'm like,
oh my gosh! As soon as I got it, I was like, I wanted to see it so bad, like in person.
I'm really excited. We don't have a date yet, but Rocket League for the Switch.
And they have special cars.
Yes,
special cars.
Get that Mario car.
Samus car.
No, Samus car is the best car.
Samus car.
I'll agree with that as well.
Also, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It's coming out in December.
Yeah, people doubted whether that was even going to get launched this year. And no, it's December 1st or 2nd? 1st, December 1st. I'm looking at the stuff right now. A lot of Kirby news. A big Kirby fan.
Multiplayer Kirby.
So, I don't know. I want single-player Kirby.
Need the multiplayer Kirby.
Single-player Kirby.
All the players in the Kirbys.
Wait, if we can have Kirby, all of us beating the hell out of each other on Kirby, I'm kind of down with that.
Yeah, it's the closest that I'm getting to a Smash on Switch right at the moment. I'm down. I'm down. Multiplayer Kirby. Yes, please.
I don't know. I need to get Pokemon.
Super Mario Odyssey, I think everyone's sold on that game. You really didn't even have to show anything.
No, you really didn't.
Just, hey, it's coming 27th, don't forget. Great.
Thanks for the reminder.
I don't already have that in the calendar on my phone.
I think a cool game that got announced is really neat. Snipper Clips Plus. Cut it out together. That game, I downloaded the demo for that, and my wife and I played that in tabletop mode. I used official Nintendo lingo there. On the counter there, and we played it on the Switch, and it was really fun. The fact they're making more content for that's really cool.
Very cool.
I thought it was really neat.
Yep, I will be picking that up.
I'm looking through some of the games. A lot of indie games in which, what's funny, people could say these games already came out on other systems, but there were a lot of indie games that are, especially if you look back at their Nindies showcase a few weeks back, that are exclusive to the Switch, whether permanently or for a limited time.
Or console exclusive, but they're already on PC.
Yeah. Or they're launching day and date with the other people. Morphe's Law was one that I took note of.
That's a weird one.
Yeah, where you shoot the body parts and they make them bigger or smaller.
That's a weird one.
That is a little interesting.
It is. But hey, shoot her on the Switch. So
yeah, Octopath Traveler is exclusive to Switch.
I know. How great.
That's super awesome, and it's Square Enix, one of my favorite developers. So I'm not gonna say no to that.
Nope.
It's just I was really impressed with what they showed. What was the other question I had on there? I'm looking at my notes here.
Well, while you're thinking of that, dude, one thing I gotta say, I'm surprised Nintendo's letting them bring a MOBA.
Which one? Help me out.
It's the Arena of Valor. It's a multiplayer online battle.
Oh yeah, I
arena.
remember that video.
Yeah,
Look,
I was like, what the?
you're not-
what are
you're
they
not-
doing with a boba on
you're
a
not really a
Switch?
gaming platform until you have mobile.
Yeah.
That's been proven. You got Smite, you got Paragon, you got Dota, gigantic. Look, the list goes on and on.
Or Rocket League.
Is that-
Check.
Or Minecraft.
That's true. Yeah.
Or Minecraft.
Or Minecraft.
Yeah, those are pretty rare.
Oh my gosh, Minecraft on the DS, on the 3DS.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I could not believe that was a thing. Oh man, that was cool.
Mojang looked and said,
That
"What
was
consoles are we
cool.
not on currently?" Like next announcement's going to be PSP. We've got
Yeah.
PSP edition on only on PSP.
Minecraft SNES Classic Edition.
Now, Nintendo brings up a good point. He says no virtual console though, and the online service voice chat with Splatoon is still a joke. Like, so that is a big omission from the show. There was no mention of that.
One thing I will say, Nintendo recently updated the app, and now it doesn't have to be open for your voice chat. It can be in the background.
Woo!
They listened partially. As he looks over at me like, what the hell?
Just use Discord.
Just use Discord.
Yeah. Go to our exclusive. It's not exclusive. Go to our Rocket Punch Discord and just use that.
Yes, Minecraft coming to your GE refrigerator and stovetop.
Or the
Yeah,
or the Credible Threat Discord channel. Just use that.
Yeah, that works. That works.
So that's a good point. Like, when do you guys think we're going to hear anything, if at all, about Virtual Console?
I can't believe we haven't heard anything yet.
Nothing about that.
Why?
My bet is...
Look, I'm not
Why?
Reggie.
What could possibly be holding that up?
So, guys, you got to remember also, though, that this is a totally different platform from the consoles that it was on before, and they kind of have to retrofit a fancy emulator onto this. Now, it is technically there's some illegit ones out there already. I don't know if they're going to just take those and slap a fresh new Nintendo sticker on it and go that way, or if they're gonna do the other stuff. And I say that because guess what? This is using the same kind of CPU and GPU that's in the what's the
NVIDIA Shield.
Yeah, in the Shield.
Oh, boy.
Hey man, all I'm saying is you can get all kinds of apps to run on that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Nintendo says Minecraft is coming out for GE refrigerator and stovetop soon.
I just read that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's super great.
Tardy to the party.
Oh wait, hang on. Speaking of parties, Mario Party Top 100.
And not on Switch?
Not on Switch. That's been a big conversation of like when games release now, everyone is like, but isn't on Switch.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we've got this brand new Red Dead Redemption 2.
Is it on Switch?
It's on Switch? Well, I know it's not gonna work. Not gonna work.
Guess
Not gonna
what?
work.
I'm not buying Red Dead 2 unless they put it on Switch.
You're buying Red Dead 2.
I'm buying
No, I'm
Red
not.
Dead. I'm probably buying 4 copies of Red Dead 2.
But
In fact, now I know I have to buy you a copy of Red Dead 2, apparently. So.
but I think we've answered the question, but I think, does this squash the notion that people are saying like there are no Switch games available?
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. There's still a boatload of games we haven't even talked about yet.
Yeah, there was a ton. I
It really
encourage
was.
everyone to go watch that video. We'll see if we can link it in the show notes, but there was a lot of announcements there, a good 45 minutes. And it was structured very well. I like the fact that we've got our highlight games, and then we'll have these little headline reels that pop up, and we talk about real quick, and then you keep moving on. But Nintendo had a very good week, I think. Whether they keep rolling on that track, we'll see. As we've seen in the past, they have great moments, and they have not so great moments. NES Classic, any of those collector's items there. We'll definitely see. Any other final thoughts on Nintendo, the Direct?
As far as the Direct goes, I need more of this. Keep it up. Don't stop. Nintendo, our bodies are Reggie.
We'll get a nice good Reggie face somewhere and make sure we put that in the post somewhere. So now that's all the topics of the show. Now we're going to get to our new favorite part. Since we have Twitch streamers that are interacting with us, we're going to go through questions that we have. Actually, a couple of questions popped up in chat here. We're going to scroll through, and I remember the first one. Jay Nixter, he has a couple of questions. First one, to all of us, what is the toughest genre to do in gaming that we think, personally?
Toughest to play?
Toughest genre to do in gaming. Personally, he says, I believe horror is hard to do. Like, I guess what he's talking about is what is the toughest genre to execute in a game format.
Sports.
Oh man, I hope EA's not on this stream. Oh god.
Apparently, it's not in the game.
High five. Good job. What? Actually, horror's a good one because there are a handful of really good horror games I would say that I've seen out there. Dead Space 1 and 2. We don't think about the third one. Also have Outlast. I think was done well. Maybe that's about it. I think that it's very hard, especially in this day and age when people are so desensitized to a lot of like the jump scares and stuff that people do. It's hard to do in gaming because people expect it.
No, there is from Halloween Week last year. There's a pretty good video.
Why would you bring that up? YouTube.com/RocketPunch. Go see what he's talking about.
Of Cameron playing Alien Isolation, and I think that answers it entirely.
Oh my god, it was a whole lot of fun. That's a great game to talk about horror that does it right. But when you look at the first-person shooter genre and the RPG genre and all these other big genres that have all these games to dig from, but when you go to horror, it feels almost niche. Like there's not a lot of great games. They're kind of just like, ooh, jump scare, rah! And like fucking Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, but it's sold incredibly well. I don't know that that's all that hard to do. That's just cheap jump scares all around.
I mean, if you make a scary game and sell it in October, of course it's selling.
But you know what I mean? And I'd say you got yourself a winner on your hands. I would say the hardest one to make right now, and I think my buddy Cliffy B would be happy to attest to it, would be the competitive multiplayer shooter genre. Akin to Overwatch and Breakers of Law.
Oh boy!
So I think he is finding it incredibly difficult to develop a game in that space right now.
I agree,
especially when you already have one of the titans of industry just going ahead and just saying, all of you are trash. Here, I will just put my Major League Gaming hat on.
Right.
Put that down.
Just ask Randy Pitchford and the Battleborn crew.
Yeah, there you go.
They came out before Overwatch, and Overwatch still steamrolled them.
Because they did a free beta weekend.
Yeah.
They launched brilliant marketing.
Oh
brilliant.
My gosh.
Jay Nixter, other question he asks, in your own personal opinion, what is your favorite game soundtrack?
Favorite game soundtrack?
I'll go ahead and answer mine. Vanilla WoW. It's iconic. It's one of those I can put on in the background to get work done. If I just want to sit there and listen to it, I can. I don't know, man. I've listened to that album probably 400 plus times.
I will say, I don't know if I'd pick one soundtrack, but I can answer as well. Almost basically any Final Fantasy soundtrack I will listen to en masse. If I really need work done, all I need is One Winged Angel. Yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Now, if we're going to go the Final Fantasy route, I need Uematsu's piano collection version of all that.
Yes. I'm really a big fan of the orchestral stuff from their shows. It's on Spotify. I can't remember. Distant Worlds.
Yeah.
Like 1, 2, and 3. Ooh, beautiful.
I would say Michael Jackson's secret album, Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Jesus.
Yes. Fun fact, Michael Jackson actually helped. Didn't he produce that?
Yeah, but he didn't want his name tied to it or whatever because he didn't feel like the Genesis sound chips could do what he wanted it to do or whatever. So he was totally involved, but his name is not anywhere in the credits.
Oh, man. That's a good one. I'm going through chat here.
Right. So there's another one. When do you think VR will be more than hand simulators? LOL. And that's from Nintendobs.
Ooh, more than hand simulators. A while.
Personally, I would say probably a good 10 years.
I don't know if I'd say 10.
Well, the reason why I say 10 is not just the give devs time to get used to making in VR. Also give us time for our graphics chips to evolve and get smaller so we can fit them into the headsets instead of having to have a ultra powerful gaming rig. So I feel like that's
when are we all going down to Orlando to try out the Star Wars VR experience they're gonna have?
Is that the one that costs $200?
I don't care what it costs. I am in. No, you're talking about the Lenovo one. I'm talking about they've got like a place you can go down in downtown Disney or Disney Springs or whatever that will be like a legit think large warehouse basically. And the warehouse that you wander around with like a backpack computer, and you wander around in what will look to you like the Star Wars universe, and you will participate in some Rogue One series of events inside this warehouse.
All right, first off, we need to go ahead and schedule this.
I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying.
And second of all, if anybody could do it, it would be Disney.
Right?
They essentially own ILM now and all that stuff. And if anyone's going to be able to pull that off, it'd be them. But back to my initial answer, I really do think that it's going to take time for the technology to evolve so we can miniaturize it and just have it in a headset.
I think it's going to take time for that to be smaller and cheaper. More powerful, but also cheaper. I think the PSVR is a great entry-level thing, but I know a lot of people have complained that, it's not 1080 on each eye. Thanks to a friend of mine, I was able to try out HTC Vive.
I'm the friend.
And it was awesome. Like, especially having those 1080p screens in your face and the way everything looked. I had a lot of... what was my favorite game? The Archer game.
Archery?
I love the hell out of that game.
Yeah, free.
I think the big thing that's going to help VR is going to be mainstream appeal. Once they find stuff to use VR for besides gaming, and they get it into other people's, like millions of people's hands, and make it cheaper and more cost effective, then when they release the games, they have a player base they can send it to.
Ultimately, whenever they are able to make a headset that is kind of like Sword Art Online level, not like put you in the world digitally, but like you put it on and you can experience it like that.
And then get locked in for years at a time?
No, because...
Just like SAO.
Yeah, I don't need to die in a video game to kill me in real life.
I need that.
We don't need that.
Yep, I do. You guys stay home then.
They did stay home. That's the problem.
How do you pronounce this name?
Pedagogy?
Pedagogy in Twitch chat says to ask Chris Scott of Credible Threat Gaming, why haven't we played the Snipper Clips demo?
Not because we own Snipper Clips. That would be why.
There's your answer. Boom.
I guess she means like the newer levels, but we haven't beaten the original one yet. Are the new levels even out yet?
I don't think so. I think they're in the next few weeks they'll be out.
Okay. I tried looking the other day. I couldn't find them, but I had 4 seconds in between one task and the next.
She also asked, did John Williams compose any game soundtracks?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think
so.
He's primarily big budget movies.
I was gonna say
he probably makes a lot. I don't think you could afford John Williams.
Disney basically has him chained to a desk or a podium over at Disney Studios. They're like, "You're gonna make all the Star Wars music for us, everyone."
Hang on, don't they also own Indiana Jones? And wasn't that also him?
Yep.
Yeah. Good luck, guys. John Williams ain't going nowhere, especially because he's also he's buds with Steven Spielberg. So good luck getting him if Spielberg and Disney have their hooks in him.
Nintendo says, "Dang, Will's answer is so deep and makes so much sense. So deep,
so deep,
so thought provoking.
Deep.
I don't know about that. Though.
Just look into his head. It's so deep.
All the bald. Just look at the lack of hair and enjoy it."
So, guys, it looks like those are all the questions we have in chat, and that means that it's the end of episode 76 of the Rocket Punch Cast. As always, I'm your host, Cameron. Of course, Will's always here, but loved having Chris join us for a little bit. It
was wonderful. It was wonderful.
Great. It's always a good time when you come down.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, it's always a pleasure. You know you're always welcome. Whenever you're not working.
I should be working right now.
He's probably going to get yelled at whenever we stop recording.
Good.
But also, thank all the Twitch viewers that are out there watching the show live, and also all the listeners that are listening to this on podcast services across the world. We really appreciate you guys' support. As always, remember, you can always go to rocketpunchco.com to find out all of our content, everything we do, all of our podcast videos, everything is right there. rocketpunchco.com, that's the place to be.
I got one other thing before we sign off.
Oh, breaking news.
One more thing.
All right, Steve.
Well, no, if you do like what we're doing, please take the time to rate and review us on iTunes.
Ooh, yes.
That will greatly help our reach as far as that goes and get us in front of other people. That's it.
That's okay. Rate and review us on iTunes. Just go subscribe as well. Help us out.
Yeah.
Help us infect more people's ears. It's the best thing ever. You love us. We love everything. But that's the end of the Rocket Punch Cast, episode 76. Until next time, farewell.
Bye.